The first leg of the NASCAR Mario Kart series proved to give us an exciting points battle between two of the best cars so far this season, William Byron and Christopher Bell. Ultimately, it was Bell who would prevail by a mere 4 points at the end of the first 6 races. We saw nearly the entire field score points at some point, with only 5 scrubs missing out on the top 12 during the first stretch. We saw how close things can get in the points, both at the top and throughout the field, and we know that things will get competitive. While we don't have as many wild cards in the Progressive Cup, there is enough diversity in style of racing here that we should be able to see a good number of drivers score points still. That being said, you know the drill and how we roll. So let's get this show on the road. The Progressive Cup kicks off at one of NASCAR's oldest tracks, perhaps suggesting we'll see tamer racing ahead as veterans start to flex their mid-season muscles. A top-heavy lineup leads the field to green to kick off another season of short-track racing. Bell quickly slides in front of Chase Elliott to take the top spot and opens a comfortable gap to start his attempt at repeating his Daytona Cup victory. Elliott soon begins to reel Bell back in before passing him just a handful of laps later, just before NASCAR pulls a classic banana caution. The early yellow allows new strategies to emerge and different cars to rise to the front. Barry leads the pack on a moderate green flag run, and the field seems to settle down. That is until Hocevar green shells Buescher for putting him in the wall, bringing out the caution. Under caution, Barry's controller dies, so he retreats to the garage to recharge as everyone else finishes stage 1. Team Penske begins scrambling for outlets as Cindric's controller dies too, effectively ending his day. Drivers get rolling again for another 40 laps or so until Burt Myers faces the same problem. Okay, y'all have seriously got to start checking your battery before hopping on track. Hamlin leads the field back to green, carrying his driver Wallace and teammate Gibbs right behind him. As the race continues, drivers start to get a feel for the long run, giving a little more breathing room going into the final stage as Hamlin picks up his second stage win of the year. The start of the final stage is interrupted by Cindric turning Herbst, seemingly testing NASCAR's penalizing procedure, considering he just caught a 50-point penalty for doing the same thing at COTA. After getting back to green, Hamlin shows he's the class of the field even on older tires. As green flag pit stops are going on, SVG loses a wheel, forcing NASCAR to throw a caution. About 15 laps later, another green flag run is cut short when Reddick gets too close to Gibbs with his bananas and takes him out, giving Hamlin what is probably his second or third aneurysm of the day. Buescher continues his miserable day running into Gregson, showing us exactly what tacos and root beer would look like in my stomach. After one more yellow for Briscoe spinning Logano, the field restarts with Hamlin, Bell, and Wallace completing a Toyota trifecta up front. Bell and Hamlin go wheel to wheel for a couple laps before Hamlin finally settles in over his teammate. The laps keep winding down, and many are wondering if this is Denny's moment. He's had the best car all day, but he hasn't won here at his home track in 10 years. A win here, now, with this car would mean a lot for Denny and his team. Lucky for Hamlin, the racing gods shone favorably upon him as he coasts to his first win of the season in dominating fashion. While most were concerned that Martinsville wouldn't provide good racing, many would argue that the paperclip has become the best short track on the schedule. Toyotas dominate the day with Bell picking up another podium and Bubba picking up his second straight third place. Hendrick cars Elliott and Larson round out the top 5 respectively, Chastain pulls in a 6th, Preece continues his red-hot streak with a 7th, and defending champion Logano finally earns his first top 10 of the year with an 8th. Briscoe puts a third JGR car in the top 10, Gilliland surprises the field by putting his front row forward inside the top 10 for the second time this season, Blaney physically carries his car to an 11th place, and Michael McDowell continues to knock on the door of the top 10, rounding out our points finishers. Looking at our points after the first race, we can see things will be the same after each Cup's inaugural race. The Toyotas already have a jump on the field, it seems, and while there's plenty of opportunity for other star drivers to compete, they'll be hard-pressed to find an edge over the speed JGR is bringing to the table. It'll be interesting to see how things progress. Get it? Because progressive... Okay, never mind. Throwback Weekend meets the Cup Series at the Lady in Black yet again, with an enthusiasm for the sport's history that's seemingly through the floor. Nonetheless, we have good paint schemes to look at yet again, and the green flag flies on the historic track's 75th anniversary. Early in the race, we're reminded why this is the track that's too tough to tame, as Larson runs into a stray banana on the backstretch, ending his day prematurely with arguably the best looking car in the field. The pack gets to run for a bit longer at the next green flag, until Hocevar cuts a tire compounded by an oil slick in the following corner, bringing out the caution yet again. The first stage resumes to a long green flag run and almost reaches stage end before Hocevar yet again brings out the caution, this time hitting one of Herp's red shells, spinning him into the wall, making it a 2-lap dash to the stage finish, which Byron sneaks away with as they jumble for position behind him. The second stage gets underway to little fanfare. New cars come and go as the race progresses. As green flag pit stops cycle through, Brad Keselowski's tire changer earns this week's vacation lottery when he loses a tire in the middle of the corner. The race restarts as strategies flip and goes green for the remainder of the stage, Byron leading every lap of the race up to this point so far. The final stage begins under Byron's tyrannical reign, seemingly no one able to reel him in. A crowded restart shows Byron's car has a hint of mortality, as other cars are able to somewhat stay with him. Shortly after, Barry runs into Reddick's banana coming off turn 2, careening him into the inside wall. The ensuing restart allows the field to stretch out a little. As the laps wind down, Hendrick fans are screaming at their TVs for the 24 to stay on track, and do what no one has done in over a quarter century: lead every lap in a race. Sadly, this wouldn't last, as Byron pulls it down pit road with just under 50 laps to go. After the pit cycle finishes, Bell and Byron begin duking it out on track for the lead. Second. Turns out Reddick pit 4 laps before Byron brought it down pit road and was able to capitalize on excellent track position. The race hits the last stretch and Blaney has the fastest car on the track. He's run down and past both Byron and Bell, setting his sights on the 45 car. With 3 to go, Blaney has tracked down Reddick and moves by him into clean air, tapping the 45 slightly, who bumps the wall. Behind them, Larson is laps down, and Reddick drops a banana after hitting the wall. Unable to escape, Larson smokes the banana and brings out a heartbreaking caution for the 12 car. The money stop sees Hamlin's crew prove why they're the best in the business, putting Denny out front when it matters most in overtime. On the restart, Denny gets a great jump and clears the cars behind him. The race for second intensifies as the 11 drives off in the distance, and while the dominant car of the day finally gets up to second in an attempt to get his lead back, it is too late as Denny Hamlin goes back-to-back for his second win of the season. There were a lot of questions around this team to begin the year, but we've quickly seen how much of a contender these guys really are. Darlington didn't deliver the most exciting of races, but the weekend combined with the racing on track gave us a good enough show that saw fan favorites up front all day. Hamlin, of course, snuck away with the win as Byron claimed second with the dominant car, and Bell overcame early issues to round out the podium. Reddick hung tough in fourth after nearly holding off a fierce charge from Blaney before the flag, who'd end up with his own first Darlington top 5. Buescher picked up his 5th top 10 of the year with a 6th. Chastain holds steady with another top 10 in 7th. Elliott does the same in 8th after being seemingly absent all day. Gibbs grabs his first top 10 and points scored of the year with a 9th, and Busch rounds out the top 10. Cindric started strong but faded back for most of the day, still somehow finding his way back into an 11th place finish, and Zane Smith picks up his 4th points finish in only 8 races, coming in 12th. Taking a look at the Progressive Cup points, we can see Hamlin and Bell have really vaulted themselves above everybody else early, virtually locking up a finishing spot in what is expected to be a very top-heavy cup. Elliott joins them trying to score as many points as possible with another points finish today. Chastain follows suit right behind. Byron's runner-up catapults him to the top 5, and Bubba and Blaney make up the rest of the double digits so far at 10 apiece. The remaining drivers in the top 12 are bunched together like a Talladega choo-choo train, with Reddick at 9, Larson at 8, Buescher at 7, Preece at 6, and Logano holding a 1-point cushion over the cut line with 5. We've seen less variety in who will likely finish up front this cup, but let's not rule out wildcards like Talladega, Kansas, and Texas, which always catches cup regulars off guard. The battle for the lead may be distancing itself from the pack, but everything from third on down is just heating up. NASCAR rolls into Thunder Valley looking to fix its short track problem once and for all. With last year giving us 2 very different Bristols, it was interesting to see what kind of racing we'd get. NASCAR used overly sensitive tires this time though to manage grip in the corners, and ironically made the racing even worse. Oh my god, you did it. You fucking did it. Are you happy with this? There was a point in this early run where every single car was riding the bottom lane. This is the absolute antithesis of what Bristol is. Why are we putting the blame on Goodyear? Why can't we just fix the car for these tracks? I can't believe that we're even having this conversation after 4 years of the next gen. Are you still serious? The track gradually took rubber, allowing the racing to widen out somewhat, but outside of SVG running over an oil slick and taking wear with him, the first 2 stages passed by in uneventful fashion. With Bristol's reputation, you would expect the close quarters racing to provide a slip-up for us, at the very least to rack up the cars again for an action-packed restart. This surprisingly doesn't happen though. Clean racing or broken car, tire package, whatever. Either way, the race remains green in its entirety. Bowman attempts to catch a caution by throwing an ink, but it doesn't do enough to get NASCAR's attention. Green flag pit stops cycle through one more time. As the field stretches out, it becomes clear that the race is over, as Kyle Larson drives to a commanding second straight win at Bristol. Well, that fell shorter of the hype than Fire Festival. What was supposed to be an exciting return to short track racing essentially gave grassroots fans the middle finger, with the bad man stinking up the show yet again. JGR ended up having a really solid outing though, sweeping positions 2 through 4 with Hamlin, Gibbs, and Briscoe, and Blaney once again carries the Ford banner, rounding out the top 5. Byron continues to be a points-finished merchant with a 6th place, Chastain pulls in another 7th, Bell locks in all 4 Gibbs cars to the top 10 with an 8th, and Dillon and Allmendinger get a couple lower-tier Chevy teams inside the top 10 respectively. Carson Hocevar finally rebounds after a dismal early season slump with an 11th, and Josh Berry picks up his 3rd points finish of the year with a 12th. Going into the Cup Series only off weekend, we can see that Denny Hamlin has made it his personal mission to set the high score for a 6-race Cup, only missing out on perfection this week by a little over 2 seconds. Bell, Larson, Chastain, Byron, and Blaney are only stacked 8 points apart, padding their cushion leading into the chaotic back half of this Cup. Ty Gibbs picks up his best finish of the season so far, and his best since Darlington Spring last year, marking a solid turnaround for the 3rd-year driver. Tied with Gibbs is Elliott, doing his part to stay afloat in the points, followed by Briscoe, Wallace, Reddick, and Buescher. The tracks coming up will really give us an idea of who can handle the demanding docket of venues that lie ahead. After the lower series took a quick trip to the Rock over the Cup bye weekend, both Xfinity and Cup make a trip to the scenic mountains of northern Alabama. While plate racing has been the subject of controversy lately regarding fuel saving and strategy, the 4-wide monster making its way around lap after lap is truly a sight to behold. The first stage consists of mostly that, with a good 20 laps being spent on the edge of the seat before green flag pit stops begin, and they're immediately interrupted as Keselowski and Busch get caught up in a bomb explosion, collecting Bowman and Blaney in the chaos. We're set for a short run to the finish after pit stops cycle through, but on the restart, Hamlin slips his finger and absolutely obliterates Bell with a red shell. A quick cleanup gives us room for an actual short run, and somehow Larson catches a massive push up the middle to take the lead and his 2nd stage win on a drafting track this season. The stage break allows the field to jumble strategies somewhat to get a feel for what the track will be like in the long run. This brings uncharted backmarker teams to the front of the field more often than not, this time being Fast Pasta Anthony Alfredo, driving the 62 car for Brendan Gaughan? Oh my god, Gone. God, that's a tough one for newer fans. Pasta Man led 19 laps, looking like fellow New Englander Joey Logano blocking all 3 lanes at once out there. Pit stops allow the field to stretch out and eventually come back together, allowing manufacturers to strategize the stage finish. A heated back and forth battle for the lead between Logano and Wallace takes place, and with Cindric giving him a shove in the final fray, it's Bubba Wallace who pulls through for his 2nd stage win of the year as Logano crashes out the hardest over Cindric's decision. The final stage gets underway with Toyotas leading the way yet again, Briscoe, Herbst, and Gibbs in the proverbial podium spots. The field gets up to speed and cars shuffle as strategies begin to align in the late stages of the race. The tension begins to build as the laps click off, and no cars have made their final pit stops. Finally, with 24 laps to go, the Toyotas and a handful of Chevys come down to fuel up and immediately get single file to build speed. All groups of manufacturers make their pit stops, and the race is in the hands of the drivers with 15 laps to go. Cindric has cycled to the lead, followed by Larson and Byron, while Ryan Preece lurks in the background. Cindric and Byron duke it out lap after lap, but with 6 to go, Priest flings his car to the outside and takes the lead from Byron, Cindric staying within arm's reach to maintain his shot at the win. 2 to go. Priest and Cindric have been door-to-door the whole way, and it looks like they'll finish like that too. A genuine dead heat ensues, and out of turn 4, it's hard to tell who will get it. However, coming into the tri-oval, Byron gives Priest a hard push, and while he recovers easily, he loses just enough ground to Cindric as the 2-car earns his first win of the year and 3rd of his early career. What a solid race. I know that fuel saving wasn't ideal, but seeing cars like that rip around the track and still be able to have a good, diverse, driver-centric race was really nice. Taking a look at our top 12, we have Cindric picking up a valuable 15 points for his season. Larson? Byron? Whoa, wait, where's Priest? Where's Logano? Oh, you gotta be fucking kidding me. Just when it looked like Priest had good momentum and got a good points finish, NASCAR's gonna kneecap him and Logano for issues with their rear spoilers. While it does jumble up the finishing order a little bit, and you know how we love chaos, it does hurt to see good finishes ripped away for minor rule discrepancies. In this instance, Priest and Logano do have their Mario Kart's finishes stripped from them as well, seeing as they lost their finishing position in real life too. Because of this, the aforementioned Hendrick Thing 1 and Thing 2 inherit 2nd and 3rd, Bragson takes over 4th, Elliott puts a 3rd Hendrick car in the top 5, Hocevar grabs 6th, Bowman puts the whole Hendrick camp in the top 10 with 7th, and Bubba grabs the 8th position after yet another day being a stage points merchant. Suarez picks up his first points finish since Vegas, Dillon picks up his 2nd straight top 10, McDowell keeps up his consistency but hilariously still can't get a top 10, and Stenhouse grabs a top 12, maintaining his fantastic season so far. Looking at the top 12, things have shifted significantly, and it's no longer the guaranteed dub that Hamlin fans were looking at 2 weeks ago. Larson has closed the gap to 7, Byron being only 6 behind him, and then a full race or 15 points between Byron in 3rd and Gibbs in 10th at 14. Strong outlier finishes, or steady, consistent finishes, are propelling these drivers up the charts, with Hocevar being the only car in the top 12 having less than 10 points at 9. With 2 races to go and 2 crazy tracks ahead, it'll surely be entertaining to find out which driver will be taking home the Progressive Cup. Texas Motor Speedway isn't the track that we grew up with. A couple years back, the track took a change for the worse. Now cars simply slide all over, it's impossible to make a safe pass, and chaos reigns supreme. That's right, the Great Freeze of 2021 turned Texas into an icy cesspool that may have ruined NASCAR racing at the facility for good. Fit for a chaotic race, Hocevar nabs the first pole of his young career, leading the field to the green flag. Cars scramble for position as the racing thins out quickly in classic Texas fashion. Only about 20 laps in, Bragson is the first car to lose it on the ice and brings out the caution, bringing pretty much everyone down pit road. The reshuffled field puts Cindric up front, who uses dirty air to his advantage and holds off the entire field. As he looks to close out the stage, Hamlin is hit by a stray fireball, bursting his car into flames and ending his race prematurely. Cindric quietly grabs his 2nd stage win of the year, and the field shuffles yet again on pit road. Barry leads the field to the restart and quickly clears for the lead. Behind him, we start to see a glimpse into the final stages of the race as Briscoe gets too high in turn 4 and spins, collecting damage. Under the next caution, Bell forgets we're not playing Double Dash and gets stuck on pit road for an extended stay. Barry leads the field back to green, and the pack stretches out yet again. Though he's mired back in points, his win at Vegas earlier this season proved that he can hang with the big boys. All he's got to do is keep this lead, or at least stay near the front, and yep, that's Texas for you. You can see why this track is not the most popular with the NASCAR faithful. Not wanting to risk their own cars, most of the field comes down pit road. Larson snags the lead away from Gilliland on the restart and begins driving away. Just before the end of the stage, Buescher snacks the wall on the front stretch and almost makes it to pit road before losing his tire on track and drawing the yellow. Okay, we've gotten a fair amount of bullshit so far this race. Unusual caution, shitty track conditions. Hopefully we can just get a good finish that runs at least semi-clean to the end. You can make that happen, right? Right?
Nope.
6 cautions over the last 80 laps have exhausted much of the field, as this has now turned into a race of attrition. McDowell has used pit strategy to put himself in position to win, and will have control of the race restarting with 10 laps to go. Miraculously, the 71 jumps out front and is able to hold his own, though not without Blaney and Logano breathing down his neck. Logano begins working McDowell's rear bumper, and with 3 laps to go, he uses a massive run off of turn 2 to dive down low. In a thrilling move, McDowell puts Logano all the way below the apron before finally relenting. Less than a lap later, McDowell's 2 tires finally give out, and his race is over. Heading into overtime for the 3rd time this season, the only person able to stop this Penske brigade is Watermelon Man himself, Ross Chastain. Despite this, Logano pulls out to a sizable gap, and while Chastain looks faster, he simply doesn't have the time as the defending champion grabs his first top 5 and win of the season. Looking at our top 12, Texas might have been the biggest wildcard race so far this year. Logano has been off the mark a little this season. His win isn't anything new. Chastain and Blaney fill up the podium respectively, while Larson stays red hot in 4th, and Jones picks up his best finish since Talladega last year with a 5th. Stenhouse continues to stay relevant, moving into a playoff spot in the real-life standings with this 6th place. Austin Dillon is the surprise of the field, grabbing his 3rd straight top 10. And Nemechek ends his abysmal cold streak with an 8th place finish. Bell stands as the lone Toyota in the top 12 with his 9th place. Suarez gets his 2nd straight top 10. Gilliland survives the day with his radical pit strategy in 11th, and Ty Dillon finally gets his first top 12 of the season, rounding out our points finishers. Going into our final race, the Progressive Cup at Kansas, the lead has tightened up way more than the Toyotas would have liked. Larson's hot streak has pushed him past Hamlin in points, though it's an admittedly close 2-point difference heading into a track both cars have seen lots of success at. Behind them, Bell and Chastain are tied at 31 apiece, Bell taking the edge due to him being ahead in real-life points after Texas. Byron sits in 5th, with Blaney close behind in 6th, and a slight drop-off to Elliott in 7th. Logano's win propelled him to 8th place in this Cup's standings, with Cindric's win a week prior doing the same for him. Bubba sits not too far back from Cindric, as Gibbs and Briscoe were lined up at the bottom of the top 12 like pigeons fighting for breadcrumbs. Kansas has always given us crazy racing, and nearly every driver listed above has seen some kind of success there, so there's no need to leave the edge of your seat. The Cup Series heads to the rolling plains of Kansas for the final race of the Progressive Cup. We once again have a tight points battle for the lead heading into our Cup Championship, with Larson nudging in front of Hamlin last week to gain an edge over his longtime competitor. While it's not necessarily over for the rest of the field, Bell being 13 points back has virtually locked up the top 2 above everybody else. Kansas has been a breeding ground for insanely good racing the past couple years, so hopefully we'll be able to see that play out today and shake up the standings one more time. Last year's photo finish, Larson and Buescher lead the field to green as drivers begin to spread out behind them. On lap 7, Allmendinger tries using an early ink on the field, but blows his engine in the process, sending his once hopeful season into an even bigger tailspin. Man, they really gotta patch that item. It really is not useful for anybody. A number of teams take the opportunity to flip the race on strategy and have one more chance to flip their luck around. The next run goes green, with most of the field surviving the pit cycle, except Byron, who catches an oil slick and nearly loses it before making it to pit road. The stage ends with Larson picking up a series-leading 7th stage win, and the field cycles through. Man, feels like it's getting repetitive, doesn't it? Elliott is seemingly the only car that's been able to challenge Larson consistently, which he does on the following restart before ultimately slipping back. We actually see a decent amount of passing throughout the field, and while it's not the most exciting racing, it has given us a quality of racing we haven't seen in a handful of weeks. Or maybe it's exactly what we've seen the past couple weeks, depends on who you ask. Pit stops prove to be challenging, seemingly only catching the blue and white cars as Hamlin's tire changer briefly drops his controller during green flag stops, and the Nintendo hardware demons will soon come for Chase Elliott. We finally reach stage end, begging the bad man to put us out of our misery as he looks to win his 3rd race of the season. The final stage begins with a revolution. Chase Elliott is leading the goddamn race. Behind him, Keselowski is having the best day of his season so far. Maybe it looks like Bad Brad isn't so bad after all. And just like that, any chance of Larson being stopped is null and void. The pit crew will simply do the work from here. As previously mentioned, Larson's crew keeps him on the front row while Elliott's crew drops him to 16th in one stop. Denny's controller straight up quits on him, ending his day in heartbreaking fashion for the second week in a row. With chaos lurking around the corner, the field hurtles into turn 1, only for Ty Dillon to run over a banana and ruin Suarez and Ware's day as well. Racking him up again, Larson clears for the lead, dooming the field once more. Even in our darkest hour, Kyle Busch finds a way to throw the sinking boat a line as he gets spun into an oil slick not even one full lap back to green. This is all for naught, however, as Larson immediately regains the lead. Behind him, Corey Heim, making his 23-11 debut, slips up dodging a banana and connects with Haley, ending his, Jones, and Wallace's day as well. At this point, we're just playing Caution Simulator. We actually need to see some green flag runs. This isn't Texas, this is Kansas. This had the highest rated race ever on the Glut Poll. For the love of God, just go green. Thankfully, we do, and the field fans out on the restart. Larson quickly claims the top spot and... Alright, I get it! Okay, yeah, you get the rest. An interesting last couple of laps proved to be misleading, as Larson sneaks away with enough tire to burn it down for his third win of the season. Seeing our top 12, it looks like a normal mile and a half at face value, but gets weirder the closer you look at it. Larson, Bell, and Blaney making up the podium is nothing new. We expect these guys to be up top all year. Briscoe, funny enough, gets his fourth place finish in only 12 races. Bowman saves his day with a top 5 after an early scare with the wall, and Barry continues to show the speed this Wood Brothers team has with a 6th. Priest picks up where he left off in Talladega with a solid 7th place outing. Buscher shows RFK's team speed with his 8th place and 6th top 10 of the year, and Logano adds a little more consistency to his season with his 9th place. Nemechek grabs his 4th top 10 of the year, Cindric puts all 3 Penske cars on the board in 11th, and Todd Gilliland picks up his 2nd straight points finish with his 12th. After reaching the end of the Progressive Cup, this is how the final points turned out. After making the lead a close contest in Texas, Denny's blown clutch at Kansas sealed Larson's win, barring the 5-car spins the win away. Bell makes a valiant effort to steal second last second, and Hamlin just barely misses out on his sponsor's soils by finishing a respectable 3rd. Blaney also pulls a heavy weight to reach 38 points in 4th. Chastain built good finishes for weeks to grab his top 5, and Byron used good finishes and raw speed to put himself in 6th. Logano admittedly is only here because of his win at Texas, but I'll give credit where it's due. Pulling a 7th place, don't sleep on the 22. Speaking of 22, Elliott and Briscoe were tied at that exact number. Using our tiebreaker system, both have 3 points finishes this cup, no wins, both finished a high of 4th in this cup, so reverting to the real-life point standings, we can see that Elliott takes the nod over Briscoe for 8th. Cindric's win at Talladega also did him wonders, nabbing him a top 10 this cup. Bubba's hard work earlier in the cup saved him from dipping below the cut line when things got rough the last few races, and Ty Gibbs scrambles his way for an impressive 12th place finish after an abysmal start to the season. Looking at our season-long points, we can start to get a better idea of how the rest of the year is going to play out. It is an absolute cesspool of cutthroat racing. These guys will be giving everything they have to make the playoffs and our Champions Cup. You know, if they knew what this was and if I paid for it, but that's besides the point. 20th on down is still a dogfight for every position, and while we could see some mobility from some of these drivers later on, it likely won't have a huge impact on the bigger outcome of the championship. That being said, I'm sure Ellie Productions' Butterfly Effect videos have something to say about that. Up next in the 2025 NASCAR Mario Kart Tour, we have the Coca-Cola Cup, which features an exciting lineup of tracks that promise to bring thrilling racing back to the summer stretch. Fire up your engines and grab your item boxes, it's going to be one chaotic cup. Thanks again for watching, y'all. I appreciate you guys tuning into these videos. I'm having a lot of fun writing these bids and these little jokes here and there. It's really cool to hear what y'all think of them too. I love feedback, so please keep giving me feedback in the comments down below. Reach out to me if you know me personally and let me know what you thought. If you like stuff like this, feel free to drop a like down low. I really appreciate it again. Until next time, pull those belts tight, race hail, praise Dale, and happy racing.